Hey everyone, Jim Chester coming to you with the Chiro Hustle Daytime Live. I'm here with Dr. Tabor Smith. I am in Denver, Colorado, and we have Tabor coming to us from Houston, Texas, Tejas. Tell us a little bit about how your day's been going and how your experience was being on the Chiro Hustle podcast.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on. Day has been busy already. A lot of people don't realize, but I adjust every shift of every day of every week, except Saturday and Sunday. So I have my wife and I run 2 chiropractic offices here in Houston, Texas. And if I'm not at one office during a shift, I'm at another office, getting my hands on people, adjusting, moving the bone, taking pressure off the nerve, and letting people's bodies heal. So I love that. I always tell people I'm never going to retire. I'll slow down. I'll hire other people to help me. But I'll be 90 years old with one patient that comes in once a week or something, and I love it. So, but the day's been good. Weeks are busy. I'm trying to hustle, just like your podcast implies there, and share my message with people. Just like we were talking about earlier, it's like you're always going to have those people who are trying to resist, the haters and all that stuff. And it's like if you're ingrained, if you're like submerged in your art and you're like, I have this valuable message and I need to get it to as many people as possible, then you have this tunnel vision. And it's like all these other haters, like, that's fine, dude. Go hate, whatever you want to do, but I'm busy here. You know what I mean? And so it becomes something that sheds off your back a little bit better. And I just noticed the haters a lot less now than I ever did before,
Yeah. And, back to what we were talking about on the podcast a little bit, going full circle, is you created a program on spinal hygiene. And it's something that I really adhere to, because I think that the more that we can get chiropractic outside the 4 walls of chiropractic, then we're going to hit this, what they kind of label as critical mass. And if we can hit that critical mass, now we have the ability to grow at massive pace and really get the chiropractor's hands busy how they're supposed to be. Oh
yeah, dude, 100%. So I think I learned this through some hard trials that I went through a couple years ago with my son. But so principle's a principle. Like common sense is a common sense. Doesn't matter if you call it chiropractic or whatever. Like we get so ingrained in like, am I a tick? Am I a chiropractor? Do I know the philosophy? It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I love the chiropractic philosophy. It's awesome. I love the word chiropractic. I love being a chiropractor. I'm just saying, like, common sense is common sense. Like, if we're not taking care of our spinal nervous system, it will degenerate and it will break down, and your body will not function properly after it breaks down.
100%.
I mean, that's just it right there. Boom. I don't care if you're a chiropractor or not. It still applies to you. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I think in chiropractic, we've and rightly so, we've tried so hard to hold on to this word subluxation, which I use it in my practice. I correct subluxation in my practice just like a dentist corrects cavities in their practice. But we're trying to educate the public about subluxation instead of educating them about spinal hygiene first, where a dentist wouldn't just go educate their patients about a cavity, but they would educate their patients about dental hygiene. You know what I mean? And we skipped that. We missed that. It fell off somewhere, And so people are going through – that's why they're so pain related, because they're like, well, I don't know why else to go to a chiropractor. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have pain yet. And it's like, well, but what do you do on a daily basis to take care of the health of your spine? Well, nothing, but I don't have any pain. Well, and that would be like a dentist going, what do you do on a daily basis to take care of your teeth? Nothing, but I don't have a toothache. Like, you will eventually – have tooth decay if you don't take care of it, And if I believe we can share that common sense message to the public, we create a movement like never before, just like dentistry did in the early 1900s, changed lives all over the world. And then like you and I had a conversation before we even got started. It's like, I want to take this message to chiropractors, but I'll just bypass chiropractors if I have to take this out to like thousands and millions of people. And then chiropractors have no choice but to like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's like just jump in. We're already moving,
Well, one of the things that you mentioned in your podcast, because I get a chance to go back and listen to them, and qualify my brain a little bit higher. And it was awesome because what you said really stuck with me is that if we don't take responsibility for the concept of spinal hygiene, then somebody else is going to come in and steal our glory and steal that thunder.
Right.
And, you know, that would be a travesty in my mind that somebody could come in and actually take something that means so much to the development of the chiropractic industry and subset that and own it, man. Like that almost like makes my stomach turn thinking that, you know, we could give up our glory to somebody else to come in and take the thunder, man. And,
right,
you know,
I've had like those haters, you know, they're like, you know, dude, straight chiropractic, spinal hygiene exercise is not chiropractic. And the unfortunate thing is they are correct. Like, I'll tell them that. I'm like, sure, laying on a spinal molding roll, doing a spinal range of motion exercise, that is not really chiropractic. That is not the correction of vertebral subluxation. So that unfortunately means that another medical profession could own that if they want to, because it's not chiropractic. Like a physical therapist could say, look, let's teach people how to do daily exercises to take care of their spine. Then physical therapy would own that. Then when people had a spinal issue, they would just go straight to their physical therapist instead of their chiropractor. And we would be losing out on such a huge opportunity, like you just said. And if we will grab it and embrace it and teach, just like dentistry does, teach dental hygiene, we will be adding something to the profession that we've never had before. You know what I mean?
I'm right there with you. And, you know, that's one of the reasons that we started this Chiro Hustle movement is so we could get the chiropractic message outside the four walls of chiropractic. And, you know, I was Lily Serrano is she's been commenting some really nice stuff, but she is one of the people that's really on my side to help me get this message outside of chiropractic. And thank you, Lily, for always being supportive of the chiropractic message. And thank you for always being there for me to have counsel with and, you know, be able to discuss these big ideas because she's a non-chiropractor too. But, you know, when you have enough people that have superpowers that align, that help each other, it really helps the chiropractic profession. And, you know, back to what you were saying earlier, last night, I don't take much time off either, man. And last night I was out doing a scheduling event for an office up in Westminster, scheduled in 8 people in 4 hours. And one of the gals was a competitive power lifter that didn't schedule. And you know what she said to me? Yeah, I only go in to see the chiropractor when I'm in pain. And I go in for like 2 visits and then they make me better. And you know, I was like, well, you know, I took a page out of a chapter out of your book and I go, well, that's like going to the dentist only when you have like a cavity or some tooth pain. I was like, and you know, you're really disservicing your body because you're not really paying attention that it needs daily maintenance. Yep. And I was like, it's just like flossing and brushing your teeth. Why would you only brush your teeth and floss them if you had pain in your tooth?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And we've, you know, I believe the value that we bring with some of our training is that we can put it into a system and organize it so that it's simple to share. And I think as chiropractors, that's the next step. First step is for us all to get on board with this concept of spinal hygiene and to try to bring this awareness to our patients. Mm-hmm. Second step is to all say, you know, what structure do we need that's going to benefit our patients the most and give them the most ease in implementation. So that's where we've come through. It's like, you know, let's look at the toothbrush and floss. Like those are the 2 most simple things to use that you know what I mean? Like if you can't figure out the toothbrush, you're in trouble. You know, it doesn't come with a big long instruction, sheet on the back of the toothbrush because it's simple. If it took, you know, and I always say that, but if it took an hour a day to brush your teeth, or if like you had to like go buy gas for your toothbrush every time it runs out, like people just wouldn't do it. We've got to make it simple and something that people can do on a daily basis that's effective, but also very quick and easy. And so that's where we come through with our, you know, well, what are the basic concepts of spinal hygiene? Well, we know spinal alignment, we know range of motion, we know strength in and around the spine. So let's come up with some very, very simple exercises someone could do in the morning, someone could do at night, and that would match or at least mimic that rhythm they're already in when it comes to brushing their teeth.
And I want to dive in with a couple full circle questions with you and how you got into becoming a chiropractor just a little bit. And, you know, some of the miracles that you see because of practicing chiropractic today and going full circle with cases that you find that were similar to yours. And I know that when you first got into the becoming under care with chiropractic, you and your family didn't know much about it.
Right. I actually just had a patient this morning who we cried together in the exam room because she's a mom. She's having horrible lower back pain that's shooting into her legs, and she's unable to carry her baby and pick up her toddler. And, you know, she feels like, and she said it started when she was a teenager and it kept getting worse. And I told her, I said, look, she heard me speak. I got to speak at a chamber luncheon, and she said, look, I just heard you. I heard your story, and I just instantly knew that you have something, that you care about what you do, that you have a passion about. I've never heard a doctor actually care about what they do so much. You know what I mean? And that was a huge compliment to me, that she got that came across when I spoke. But I told her, I said, I think one of the things that makes me great at what I do is I've been in the shoes of a lot of my patients. And when I was a teenager, I had horrible low back pain, and it would flare up periodically, and I was on over-the-counter medications. And I remember one time it flared up so bad that it didn't stop. It didn't get better after that. It just kept getting worse. So my parents took me to the doctor. Pain pills, anti-inflammatories. I tried to take those. Months went by, and it just kept getting worse. I would move in certain positions. It would send shocking pains down my legs. And it got to the point I couldn't make it to school in the morning because I couldn't ride the bus because I couldn't sit for that long. So my parents would end up taking me to school in the morning. We'd have to stop, pull over the side of the road sometimes before we got to school so I could get out and stand up, because if I didn't, my back would go into spasms. And one night I was trying to get into bed, and I couldn't get in by myself. My parents had to lift my legs up to get them into the bed with me. And then 30 minutes after I had laid down to go to bed, I just woke up screaming and spasming. So my parents, they took me to the emergency room that night, and I had CT scans, MRIs, I had, you name it. I left with stronger pain medications, stronger anti-inflammatories, muscle relaxers, and a referral to a spinal surgeon that was in the area. And so I just thought I told the patient this morning, I said, I felt like a prisoner. Like I was stuck in this body. It was never going to get better. I felt, well, or at least I didn't have any hope that it was going to get better, because it hadn't got better, just getting worse. And a family member, and this is one thing I tell them when I do dinner with the doctor, I do presentations, I say, this is why it's important for you to share your experience in our office. This is why it's important for you to bring people to our events and to our dinners, is because a family member of mine said, my chiropractor helped me out. Why don't you take Tabor to the chiropractor and just let him check him? And of course, my family was like, well, look, we've been to the emergency room. We've been to like all these top medical doctors. I mean, how would a chiropractor be able to help when they can't? And so, but my uncle was adamant. He just said, just take him, just let him check him. The guy can do, amazing things. And so I'll never forget. We went to the chiropractor. He took his own x-rays. He showed me an area in the lower portion of my back that shifted so far forward it caused a stress fracture, a spondylolisthesis at L5. I only say that because I know we're talking to a lot of chiropractors. I don't actually use those words when I'm speaking. And so he said, look, I can help you. It's not going to go away overnight, but I know exactly what's causing your pain. We can start adjustments. We can strengthen the area. It's going to get better. And I just remember that the thing that I hold in my mind is I left with hope. You know what I mean? Like I left the hospital without it. I left the chiropractic office with it. And that was the huge difference in my mind. And with patients that come in, I want them leaving with hope. No matter what they have, I don't care if they have an incurable, whatever it is. Like, I just want them leaving my office with some hope, because I know that is what will pull us through,
And,
anyway, long story short, started chiropractic. It changed my life. That's what I said. Who in their right mind would not want to be a chiropractor?
It is a challenging profession, and there's no doubt about it. There's challenge within, there's challenge from the outside, there's challenge coming from all angles, but you have to be strong within. And what I found in you since I met you, Tabor, is you're an everyday hero, man, and you're a beacon of light for the profession, and you give so much to learning how to reach more people. And I think that you can come at people with a product like the Spinal Hygiene program, which is great and all, but if you don't have the principle deep inside your heart, and if you don't have the passion that is undeniable inside of you, it doesn't matter how much things you sell to people, and it doesn't matter how strong you think you might be as a human, and it really doesn't matter unless you have come to the point where you get sound with yourself. Yeah. And that's one of the things I've really been able to learn from you is I know that, you got a big family and you got a busy practice, but you always make time to do the right thing.
Oh, thanks for saying that, man. That means a lot. I think it's important that chiropractors, that anybody realize the principle is real. Like when it becomes real to you, then it's not just, so when we graduate from chiropractic school, we're always like, I need the philosophy. I need to get stronger in the philosophy. I need to listen to green books. And you do. And I did. And I did that really because I noticed that my most successful friends out in the chiropractic profession were all people who were really strong in their philosophy. So I almost did it just, in spite, just out of the fact that I just wanted to be successful and wealthy. And so I was like, well, if they're learning the principle and they're successful, that's what I got to do. Right. And so then I learned it so I could pass the test if you gave me a philosophy test. You know what I mean? But then when my son had, he was born with heart defects. He had open heart surgery when he was 1. And going through that was the hardest thing that I ever had to go through. But it showed me what's real. And it doesn't matter, like a chiropractic philosophy doesn't matter unless it's absolutely true and it's absolutely real. And so I fought it because I was like, I thought a chiropractic philosophy kind of meant no medicine, you hate medicine, you're anti-medicine, and all this stuff. And I was like, well, how am I going to let my son, who innate intelligence designed his heart like this, how am I going to let a medical doctor cut on him? I can't do that. And then on the other side, I was like, but he could die if he doesn't get the surgery. And in my brain, I'm just fighting. And finally I realized, okay, look, I have to play my game. I have to totally understand the rules. And I have to say, look, what's real and what's not real. And then I have to make the very best decision based on everything that I pull out of my entire environment. And so that's where it showed me. I was like, I can't depend on James Sigafus to make my decisions. I can't depend, even though I love them and I study them, I can't depend on BJ Palmer or the Green Books to make my decision. I have to totally understand that philosophy, and I have to take that philosophy and I have to make the decision to do what is right in front of me every single time. And so I realized through knowing the chiropractic profession that my son's cardiovascular system was an adaptation, right? That it was a brilliant adaptation, that life inside of him said, look, he has 3 different heart defects. I won't go into them all, but the only reason he was even born and was able to live as long as he was without surgery was because innate intelligence created this amazing system inside of him to keep him alive. Now, then I thought, well, who am I to let a doctor go in and mess with what innate intelligence did? But then it hit me. It hit me like a bolt, like a bag of rocks or a brick. It was like, okay, if I'm stranded on an iceberg and my innate intelligence will pull all my blood to my core to keep me alive longer, right? Even to the fact of sacrificing my fingers, they will die, they will shrivel up from gangrene or from frostbite, whatever it is. And I will live longer. But what happens if I never get off that iceberg? Eventually, I cannot adapt any longer. Innate intelligence could not adapt any longer. And I realized he was growing. His fingernails were starting to turn purple because we didn't take him to the doctor. We didn't, he's probably the only 8-month-old baby born with transposition of the great vessels that was never been to a chiropractor until he was 8 months old, and he had transposition of the great vessels. Anyway, he was doing awesome because I was adjusting him. His innate was flowing through his body. But I realized if he didn't get off that iceberg, he would die. Innate would not be able to continue to allow his body to adapt. So what we did is education. The educated mind stepped in. That's where we used the medical doctor. He knew what he was doing. He was a great surgeon. He was a great heart surgeon. And he stepped in and he did corrective care on his cardiovascular system. Just like we would step in educationally and do corrective care on someone's spine, right? But then once we do corrective care, once I give that adjustment, even if I say I found that subluxation, I give that adjustment, there's nothing else I can do. It's that person's innate intelligence that has to take over and heal. And that's why I tell people, it's like, once my son got out of heart surgery, like, it wasn't the surgeon that healed him. The stitches, the cut, the sternum as it grew back together, that was all my son. That was the innate intelligence of the body, right? And so I have to understand that that's the principle, that's the power. I want to remove all interference, and then I just have to step out of the way. And I just feel like when the chiropractic philosophy becomes real to you and you start to understand it, then you can make your decisions in your life based off of it. And it just helps you to make, and I wish my patients understood the chiropractic philosophy even better, and I try all the time, because they could make better decisions in their life if they knew it. Which I'm sorry I get off on that tangent, but it's kind of a...
No, I mean, a couple times there as you were talking, I had to like choke back a tear or two, but you know, it's not only the patient bases that you have an impact on and your family have an impact on, but you know, I just had a good friend of mine, Ryan Livingston, come back up here for my birthday over the weekend, and he said that he had spent some time with you down in Texas, and he learned a great deal from you on his preceptorship. And I just want to say thank you for being such a good influence to Ryan as well.
Oh yeah, my pleasure. He's a great guy.
And, you know, I know that you have some craziness going on for the rest of your day, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if people are interested in the spinal hygiene program, will you let them know where to find that, and then put a comment in the links on in the chat here where people can find more information on that?
Sure. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you letting me share that. If you want free training on the concepts of spinal hygiene, how to implement and how to have better patient education in your office, you can go to spinalhygienedoctor.com, and you can opt in there for free training. And then we just launched a brand new site, and it's really, really cool. You should check it out. It's spinalhygieneproducts.com. And that has all of our spinal molding rolls, wobble discs, spinal hygiene kits, a lot of really cool stuff for chiropractors and for patients as well.
Well, you know, I honestly appreciate you taking some time with me today on the Chiro Hustle Daytime live cast. And I know that a lot of people that maybe didn't know the passion and the heart of Tabor Smith now do. And, you know, like I said earlier, the product is like secondary to the person. And it's nice that you've taken your innate intelligence and developed something for other people to use and to establish themselves with some certainty with how to talk to people and how to implement something that's pretty simple. It just has to be done. And you know, I just can't say enough about how you took some time out of your day today to go talk to people on the Chiro Hustle Daytime show.
It's my absolute pleasure, and it's an honor to be here. So thank you for having me. Keep up the great work, brother.
Oh, thanks, man. And have a blessed rest of your day. And thank you so much. And I'm going to just keep on staying current with you. And I look forward to touching a lot of lives in the future with you.
Thanks, man. Same to you.
All right. We'll see ya.